Hey, what's going on? This is Donald Tardy, and you're watching Stormbringer, the Austrian heavy zine. Turn it up.
Donald, you toured in October, November together with Carcass and then with legendary Death DTA in the States. Now you have your 16 dates European run. Give me a short update on both the tours in the States and now your headlining tour in Europe, please.
It was by far the most exciting United States tour we've done in a long time. To have Carcass invite us to play the first 11 shows of our tour to open for them and get to know them even better than we did. Unbelievable tour, and then jumping right into the DTA tour was again, it was very cool to be a part of something like that because Chuck was a friend of mine and a friend of Obituary, and to still celebrate Chuck's music and be a part of that across the United States and Canada was super special. And then of course now the Inked in Blood tour here in Europe, could not be more excited about it. The fans apparently are having a good time because now 4 out of 5 shows were sold out so far. So. And ticket sales tonight are, from what I understand, close to capacity already. So, very excited.
If we count the executioner and the executioner periods, we mark now more than unbelievably 30 years of Florida death metal insanity. I'm pretty sure you didn't expect that Obituary will last that long when you start the band together with your brother.
I didn't expect a second album, but you know, there's nothing more fun than to write a song and for your friends to go, I love that song. So I was hooked at a very young age, writing music that long ago, and Trevor and I still just have a blast doing it. And why stop when you're having fun doing something? And we're having a blast.
The cool thing is, I saw you this year, last year, 2014, at the Rock Hard Festival. You are still a fan. I mean, the next day you had your, we were on stage, you were running around in the audience, you were taking photographs, you were watching bands banging your head and stuff like that.
Well, you know, we are fans of music, and it's good to be able to be a band member that can not be afraid to go meet people and go say hello. You know, maybe that's the level of fame shows, because I don't think any bigger bands could possibly do that without being mobbed. But Obituary always likes to have fun and enjoy the music, enjoy the festival. If you're at it, you might as well enjoy it, you know. So very cool, and we're down to earth dudes that if somebody wants to meet us, man, they're going to be able to meet us.
Cool. Let's talk about Inked in Blood, of course. For me, not only a tremendous comeback. The interesting thing is the Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign you started. I mean, not only that you reached a goal from $10,000, I guess, in 25 or 24 hours. At the end, it was more than 66,000 and nearly 1,000 backers. You wrote on the Kickstarter homepage, it was pretty damn scary to start all these things. Did you expect this blast?
We did not expect the blast, and during the campaign it was exciting, and we were unbelievably blown away by the fan support. But it was when it was finished and we saw that we had 900 orders to fulfill, along with preparing for a world tour and finishing a record. That's what made it challenging, because we had to finish the record and we could not get it in the mail too soon because it would be all over the internet. So we made that decision. You have to wait till a certain date before the release to safely get it there, but it not be all over the place. So that was a challenge. And then physically packing orders. One gets a hat and a beer koozie and the shirt and the vinyl and the sticker and the... Oh man, it was a challenge for the band to do it, but we did it. You know, it was something we'll think very long about next time, and we'll make it much easier for ourselves, but still exciting for the fans and the people that want to be a part of if we do a next one.
Do you think that this is maybe the future, to let the fans finance a record in advance?
I don't know. I think we're going to let the fans decide that, because I can only speak for Obituary. I don't know if it's great for an upcoming band who might not have a following, but Obituary's iconic logo means a lot to many fans on the planet. So we know we have the power to do whatever we want to try because the fans trust us. But I don't want them to think it's the only way we're going to do an album. We want to do the album the most efficient way, as long as it sounds like Obituary, and we're happy with the product. And that happened to be on this one. We did exactly what we wanted. We recorded it ourselves, but we realized it takes a lot more money to print the record, distribute it to every store in the world, and have a marketing campaign blast it out. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars to put forth for the complete record release. But our fans really helped us do an amazing thing, which was produce the whole album ourselves, album cover in our hands, ready to go before we asked for any help for the getting the album printed and out there. So very proud of that, and there might be a future with other bands doing it, but it's up to the fans. If they like it, that's fine. If they don't like it, don't be a part of it. Wait for it to come out and go buy it from your store. It's just as important to us. It's just as important that doesn't matter how you get it. Wait for it to be out for a year, but buy it if you're gonna buy it. Just go buy it.
If you compare Inked in Blood with Darkest Day had only one, let's call it, faster song. It was Violent Dreams. On the new album, you had a lot more faster songs. Centuries of Lies, you had Violence, Minds in the World. I mean, diversity is for me an important fact on the new record. Can you explain why this more variety comes from Darkest Day? Maybe was it the fact that the songs were written over a period, I guess, for more than 3 years?
I think you're right. I mean, there's a few factors. I think it took us, we took our time and took 3 or 4 years to write the songs. So each song had its own feeling and its own meaning. But we've never been a band to go and look back in the past at what we did on the last album, so what maybe we should do now, or we don't worry about what other bands are doing. We just simply write a song. When we start writing a song, we just want it to be Obituary style and have meaning. And with this album, we just somehow had really great ideas and got them on tape and made a very powerful album, full of songs that are, like you said, a big variety of different feels throughout the whole album. And it's also the longest album we ever released, with 12 tracks on it. 12, 13. Yeah. So again, monster record, and we are super proud of how we did it with the fans and how we did it recording it ourselves at our studio.
I know you heard it, I guess, 1,000 times. If you talk about Obituary, there's always the topic Celtic Frost coming up. I haven't heard so much ooze on a record like on Inked in Blood. There are also guitar riffs that remind me a little bit of Celtic Frost. If you talk about Pain Inside, the opening for Deny You, or Out of Blood. You're covered in the Bass Circle of the Tyrants on the Cause of Death record. I don't want to use the word influence, but for sure Celtic Frost is definitely a band that is very, very important throughout your whole career, right?
Yeah, and I think early on, as a musician or as a person, influence does happen early on. So Celtic Frost was so early on in my drumming career and Trevor's music career that we do have that style, and I'm proud of that. And it's like, I don't know, Celtic Frost is kind of in our DNA because it's been around the whole time, since before we knew how to really write music. So very proud of that. We don't try to do anything but just write the song we want to write. Doesn't mean anything that it resembles a Frost song or a Frost feel. That's a compliment to me because I love Celtic Frost. I know Autopsy, but I am not a historian of metal when it comes to owning vinyl. But amazing band. They had their early influences, probably just like an Executioner did, where not much happened before these bands. So there wasn't 1,000 different bands for us to get our style or to get our fan base. And Autopsy's a lot like that. Their history goes way back, and they started something that other bands are still trying to do now, which is like Obituary. Just they got their feel, and that Autopsy style, that it's It is a legendary record because, I mean, look at how young they are on this record, you know? 25 years ago.
Yes.
Cool dudes, another huge fan base, you know, have been playing this style of music and creating this style of music from early on. I don't know when their first release was, but like with Executioner, in 1986 we were already in the studio. So to see a Bolt Thrower album and how long these dudes have been throwing down is another classic, just a classic album. You know Bolt Thrower when you put it on. When you set the record down, you know it's not Celtic Frost, that's for sure. This is the Bible.
The Bible.
This is the Bible of how young metalheads wanted to rule the world. You know, we were just innocent Florida boys that learned how to play pretty heavy music because of the influences around us and the bands around us. But it was Tom G that you can tell he has and have always had a vision to make Celtic Frost more than just somebody writing a song in a studio or in someone's bedroom. He made Celtic Frost. He made it a brand that other bands bounced off of, and it made a whole new spectrum of metal on this planet because of Tom Warrior. What an album! I mean, this is the one I can talk about all day long because it's just every song is sick. The production is so old school metal. Procreation of the wicked. That riff alone inspired probably about 3 different Obituary songs. Just the oh, so good. What a great record.
For me, the best one.
This is probably the best. Yes, if an alien came down and said, I heard that there was this band called Death, what album should I listen to? It'd be Leprosy. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, Bill Andrews, Terry, and Rick with Chuck. This was the root. This is, you know, Chuck was the trunk of the tree, but those 3 dudes they were the roots in the ground at a very early age for Chuck, and I think Chuck wouldn't have been so focused and determined with the band without like Terry in the band, and just that brotherhood they probably had at a very young age. And then of course Chuck went on to do some of the most amazing albums. Still, some of the most impressive metal albums on the planet is Chuck Schuldiner's, and Leprosy. What an album! Again, I know it. I never owned the actual album. Trevor, I think, had it on vinyl. That shows how long ago we were listening to it. And again, man, these are dudes that were creating their style of music without much before them. We only got a little piece of after the Black Sabbath and the obvious, you know, just the Possessed album and maybe Hellhammer, and of course Slayer's early influence, but just Entombed, they created a sound and a vibe that other bands have immediately tried to do and still try to sound like. It's a great album. This one is Young Guys. This was I wrote the music when I was 16 years old, and was maybe 17 when we went into the studio to record the first 8 songs. I don't know if anybody knows that, but we recorded an 8-song album. And when Roadrunner signed Obituary, which was Executioner at the time, they told us we needed 4 more songs. So those last 4 songs is a different timed production. We went back to the studio 1.5 year later, maybe 1 year later, and finished this album. Not very many people know that. So if you listen to this album, the first 12 songs or 10 songs, you do hear a different. And we left the newer tracks at the very end of the record because there was a difference in production. So that was the decision to leave them at the end of the album. I don't know what to say about this record. I listened to my performance and I think it's terrible, but I understand that it did represent death metal, and we were teenagers doing our best, and so for that, it is one of the coolest albums, I think, in death metal, because I think it means a lot to many metalheads around the whole planet.
Is it true? I mean, there are rumors that Slowly We Rot has no lyrics. Is that really true?
That is absolutely true. John just was going for it, didn't have really a lyric sheet, and just was making up syllables and phrases, and that was long before the recording. Of course, we were practicing and playing shows, and he would even do it show after show. He would have the same language, but it was never written down words. So it's pretty weird.
Yeah. But cool. And I saw, I guess today on Wikipedia, that Slowly We Rot, the song, is the most played death metal song on the earth.
Really?
Yes.
I don't believe that, but that's pretty damn cool. Sweet.
You're a record holder. Donald, thanks for your time. I'm looking forward for the show, and
Great.
Have fun on the rest of the European tour.
Absolutely, and we will. Inked in Blood is a monster record that deserves a monster world tour. So multiple trips back and forth to Europe, and we will do as many shows as we can for the fans that love the new album.
Check it out.